Everything you need to know on Excel ribbon. Hello everyone, welcome to Excel 10 tutorial. This is a beginner's tutorial and we started by explaining each menu from the ribbon, and we have completed first 3 menus from the ribbon in a previous tutorial, and now we are going to explain the rest of the menus here. Okay, this is a true beginner tutorial. If you are advanced user, you can check out our playlist here, and if you are beginner, this is an excellent tutorial for you. Let's get started. Now in this tutorial we are going to explain each of the menu briefly, and it will give you a brief introduction of each menu. Now let's start. So we have completed the file menu, then the home tab, and insert tab, and page layout tab. In this tutorial we are going to start from formulas tab. Okay, so let's go to formula tab. The first option we have here is the function library. This is the menu group where you have a lot of functions and they are categorized here. Then the next menu group will be defined name, and the third menu group will be formula auditing, and the last one is calculation. Let's start from function library. The first option is here, insert function. Okay, now if I hover my mouse here, it will say insert function, or there is a keyboard shortcut which is Shift F3. Now work with the formula in the current cell. You can easily pick function to use and get help on how to fill out the input values. So if you're a beginner and you don't know which function to use, or you don't know the parameters of that function, you can use this option. So if I click here, it will give me a list of my recent used or most used function. I can select function here by category. Let's select here database, and here we can, let's say we are going to use the dsum function. If I click OK, now here it's a completely new pop-up. It will list the function for you, which is dsum, and here the dsum function is already placed, and you can insert the parameter inside this option. Okay, now once you click on the first parameter, it will explain how to use that function, and then you can go to the next field and the next field, and once you are completed, you can click OK. This is the easiest way to learn to use functions in Microsoft Excel. Okay, so this is how you can use the insert function option. Now the next part is AutoSum. If I click on this drop down, you can see we have average, count number, max, min, and we can also use more function. If I click here, you can get the same dialog box. Okay, now for AutoSum, if I click here, it will automatically insert the sum function. Remove this. Now if I click from the drop down and select average, it will insert the average function. Okay, so this is a shortcut for AutoSum, average, and other functions. Okay, now here we have our recently used function. This is the list of our recent used function. Okay, here we have also insert function button, which works just like this option here. Now the rest of them are functions by category. If I click on the drop down of financial, and we can get all the functions which are categorized into financial. Then we have logical, text, date and time, lookup and references, math, and here more function. Here we have a lot of other functions listed in different categories. Okay, now this is everything you got in the function library menu group. The next group is define name. This is an excellent feature. We can create name range from this option. First we have the name manager. If I click here, it will open a name manager. Okay, now let's learn how name manager works. Okay, let's write a few words. Okay, now we have data from cell D3 to D7. Okay, now if we select here in the name box, it says D3. Okay, now if I write here random underscore data, remember you cannot add space in the defined name. Okay, if I press enter, and you can see from the drop down, if I select random data, and you can see these cells are highlighted. This is called name ranges. Okay, and here if I click on the name manager, and you can see our name range is already listed here. Okay, so this is how name manager works. Actually it's just the list of all the name ranges you have. You can create new, you can edit existing, or you can delete all the name ranges from name manager. Now here is the option define name. Okay, Now let's add data from cell F3 to F6 and click here define name. Okay, and it will automatically insert the first cell value, but we want to create a new name. If I click OK, this name has been defined. So from the name manager we can have the second name. Okay, from this name box drop down, if I select here second name, this is selected. So this is how you define a name range from define name option. Okay, now use in formula. Here we have two options, second name. So if I click here, the equal to second name, it has been already placed inside a formula. Let's learn how to insert name ranges in formula. So let's write here equal to uppercase, and equal to upper, it will convert any text to uppercase, and our text should be our second name ranges. Okay, which will be ACCON, and here we can see the second name. Let's see a difference. Each of them are functions, okay, but this one is a name range. You can see the difference between them. The icon is different. Okay, so this is a name range and this is a formula. We are selecting the name range here, and if I close parenthesis and press enter, you can see we get our uppercase letter. Okay, so this is how you can insert name ranges inside a formula. Now here we have another option, create from selection. Let's write here January, February, March, and here John, Jack, and here we have our value, and here we can write sales underscore report. Okay, now let's select this range, and here click on create from selection. Top row and left column are the header. Okay, so we are going to check mark these two and click OK. Now from the drop down, if I click here in the name box, you can see February, Jack, January, John, March, and also sales report. Okay, now we have 3 month name, which is here, here, and here. We have 2 employee name, which is here and here, and the total report is called sales report, which is here. Let's select February, and you can see we only selecting the value from February. If we select Jack, you can see it's selecting Jack. So you don't need to manually create name ranges, you can create from selection, and this is how you do it. Okay, now here trace precedent. Now let's write a formula here, equal to upper, and select this cell. So if I select the cell with the formula and click here trace precedents, and it will highlight which data is coming from where inside this formula. Okay, now here we have remove arrows. If I select that, it will remove the arrow. Now here this cell, we don't know if it's used inside a formula. So if I click here trace dependents, and you can see it will highlight that this cell is connected with the formula here. Okay, so these are trace precedent and trace dependents, and you can use the remove arrow to remove all these blue arrows. Okay, now here we have show formula option. If I click here, and you can see all the formula inside our worksheet will be visible inside the cell. Okay, if I click here again, it will go back to our normal worksheet. Here error checking, if there is an error, it will highlight it. Okay, we don't have any error, so it doesn't show us any error. If I click here again, you can see the error check is complete for the entire worksheet. So you must understand this will work only on one worksheet. If you are in different worksheet, you will have to check again. Okay, Now here we have evaluate formula. If I click here, we don't have any formula in this selected cell, so it will not work. But if we select a cell with formula and then click on evaluate formula, and here it will show our formula. So if I click here evaluate, then it will display the value inside our formula, and then if I click here evaluate again, it will show us the result. Okay, if I click close, it will close it. So evaluate formula actually give you the step-by-step calculation from a formula, so you can check if your formula is working as you expect or as you intended. Okay, now here we have watch window. Okay, this is an excellent tool here. Let's write a formula here. Write equal to, and then write upper and select the text from here. Okay, close the formula. So we have our formula here and our formula source in different worksheet. Okay, if I want to change the source here and I want to check how my formula is working, I can create a watch window if I don't want to go back and forth to my worksheets. Okay, so here I am creating a watch window. Click here and click on add watch, and this is the cell that I would like to watch. Okay, now here if I write something here, and you can see from the watch window that our cell D4 from department 1 value has been changed to here in uppercase because we use the upper formula, which is upper, and our source was cell F3 from the master worksheet. So I am in the master worksheet and I can still check what's going on to the department worksheet. So this is how watch window works. Okay, now here we have calculation option, which is automatic except for data tables and manual. You must keep it automatic for your day-to-day calculation. If you don't, your formula result or your other calculation will not update. For that, if it's manual, you have to click on calculate now or calculate sheet to get the current calculation. So just keep it automatic. And here calculate now and calculate sheet, you will only need this if you change the calculation option to manual. Okay, for now you don't need it. Now the next tab is data tab, and here we have a lot of options. Now first we have a menu group which is get and transform, then we have a menu group which is connections, then we have sort and filter, and then data tools, and then forecast, and then outline. Okay, now if I click on the get external data from the get and transform menu group, click on the drop down, we can get data from Access, from web, from text, and from other sources. If I click on the drop down, we can get data from SQL Server, analysis services, and a lot of options we have here. Okay, and here we have another option which is existing connection. If we have any connection already existing inside the workbook, it will display here. Okay, now we use these options to import data. Okay, now the next option is new query. Okay, here if I click on the drop down, we will have a lot of options. So we can run a new query from the file, and from file we have Excel workbook, from CSV, XML, text, and from folder. Another option is from database. We can run query from this database and then from other sources. Okay, and we can combine queries by merging them, appending them, and launch Power Query Editor. Okay, now we have data source settings and query options. Okay, and these are a bit advanced and it cannot be explained in a single tutorial, so I will create tutorials on each of these topics in the future. And here, suppose you have a query, you can show all the queries. If you click here, you will find out all the query listed. Okay, and then we can find query from table, and you can see if I hover my mouse here, create a new query linked to the selected Excel table. If the selected range isn't part of a table, it will be converted into a table. So we can create a table and then we can run query from there. Okay, now here we have recent sources. If I click here, all the recent sources will be listed here. Okay, now the next option is connection. Here refresh all. So if you have a query or if you have external data coming from a website or coming from a database, if you click on this option, it will refresh all the data to real-time database. Okay, and here we have connection. It will show all the connections, and then properties and edit links. These are not highlighted because we don't have any query or external source data inside this workbook. If we had one, it will be highlighted, so we can use that. So from the property you can get the query property and you can edit the links from this option. Okay, now we have sorting. So if we have these here and if I click here and it is sorted, okay, we can change the sorting to A to Z and Z to A. If I click here, we can create a custom sort and we can sort by different level, and I have already created a tutorial on this advanced sorting. You can check that here. And here we have filter. Okay, if I click on the filter, and you can see from the drop down we have all our filters here. Okay, we can create a filter by clicking this and we can remove the filter from here. Okay, so if I select this and if I click here filter, and you can see we have created filters for each header. Okay, now let's select a filter only display data of John. Now we have clear option. So we have used a filter here, and if I want to clear, I will click on this clear button. Okay, let's select another one, and to reapply filter you can use reapply, and here we have advanced option. Okay, so you can add advanced filter from this option. I will talk about it in the next tutorial. Now the text to column option, you can split text from one column to multiple columns. Okay, let's write here now. If I select this and click here text to column, and here we have option, we have delimiters, and if I select next, and I can split this text based on the space in between. So remove tab and select space and click on next, and it will highlight that John will be in first column and 1 to 3 will be in the next column. If I click here, and you can see we just splitted our text to multiple columns based on the space in between. Okay, so this is what text to column does. Flash fill will automatically fill data for you. Okay, and in the tooltip it says automatically fill in values, enter a couple of examples you want as output, and keep the active cell in the column you want to fill in. Okay, so you give data in first column and in a few data in the second column, and the rest of them will be filled automatically by using flash fill. And here we have remove duplicate option. Let's write here 1 1 1 2 2 2. Okay, select this range and click on remove duplicates and click OK, and all the duplicate values has been removed. Okay, here we have data validation in our data tools, and it's a truly complex feature of Excel. You can do a lot of things using data validation. I will talk about them in a future video. And then we have consolidate data. That means you can get data from different worksheet and do calculation in your master worksheet. Let's say we copy this, paste in all three worksheet. Okay, so we pasted this data to all three worksheet, and let's change the value a bit. 10, change the data in the second one. So we have three data set in three different worksheet. Now I want to click on the master worksheet and click here. Okay, now I want to consolidate, so select this and then add the reference, which is department 1 and this one, and click here add. And now I'm going to add another one. So I'm going to go to this cell, select this, and I'm going to add. Then I'm going to add different one. Okay. Add. And here our top row and left column are our headers, and create a link to source data. We don't want to use it, but in a few moments I will show what it does. Now if I click OK, and in our master worksheet we have result from all the data. Now John in January 111. How it's 111? Let me show you. In department 1 is 1, department 2 is 100, and department 3 is 10. That means 111. So we actually pull data from these three worksheets and we AutoSum it and show a result here. This is how you can use the consolidate option. Now if I change any data in this cell, it will not automatically update. Why? Because we didn't select that option. Okay, let's do it again. Click on this cell, click on consolidate, and then you have to remove all this. Now here our function should be sum. I want to find the sum for all those data sets. Okay, so select the reference, click here and select the first range, click add, then select the second range, click add, select the third range, click add, and here we are going to add this option, create links to source data. Select this and click OK. And here we have different result, and we have a bit different look in our worksheet. You can see here we have some hidden rows in between, or you can say we have some group data here. If I click on this plus, you can see the source data of our each worksheet. Okay, so this is the first workbook name, this is the workbook name, which is book 1, and these are the values. Okay, if I click on minus and click on this plus, and this group is the information from different worksheet. Okay, now if I change the value from 1000 to 111 and go to our master worksheet, and you can see our data has been automatically updated. So this is what this option does. Okay, so this is how you can consolidate data. And here we have relationship, which is grayed out because we don't have any relationship here, but usually you will need to specify data relationships. If you are working with different data set, or if you are working with different table, you have to specify the table relationships, which you can do from these options. So usually Excel allows one-to-many and one-to-one data relationships. It doesn't support many-to-many data relationships, but one-to-one and one-to-many still can do a lot of things. Okay, now it's a bit advanced, and we are going to talk about this in different tutorial. Now here we have the forecast tab, we have what if analysis, and these two are excellent feature of Excel, and I have already covered these three: scenario manager, goal seek, and data table. You can check that from this link. And the forecast sheet, it will give you a forecasting of your business data. Let's say you have data from 2020 and 2021, 2022, and you want the forecast of 2023. You can do that easily using this forecast sheet option. I will talk about this in a different tutorial, and this will be amazing. Now in the outline menu group, we have group, ungroup, and subtotal. It's basically these options. Here in the plus and minus, these are grouping, group and ungroup. Okay, so you can group data and ungroup data. So select this, and if I click here group, and I want to group all the rows, and here is the group. If I click on minus, it will be hidden. If I click on plus, it will be visible. And if I select here ungroup all the rows, and the grouping has been removed. And subtotal, if you hover your mouse here, the tooltip says quickly calculate rows of related data by inserting subtotal and totals. Okay, so you have a lot of group data and you can find out the subtotal by these options. Okay, now let's go to the next step, which is review. Okay, here we have the proofing menu group, then we have accessibility, insights, language, and then comments and protect sheet and ink. Okay, so in the proofing we can check our spelling mistakes. Okay, so if I click here, do you want to continue checking at the beginning of the sheet? I'm going to write yes, and here we have our first spelling mistake, which is we added a underscore here and it says sales report, and we don't need to insert the underscore here. We can easily add space, and you can ignore this, ignore all, add to dictionary. It's actually like the spell checking in Microsoft Word. It's all the same, and you can find it inside the review tab and under the proofing menu group. Okay, now here thesaurus, so we write a word here, good, and I want to learn all the synonyms we have for good. So if I click here, and here you can find all the synonyms of the word good. Okay, so this is what it does. And then we have workbook statistics. If I click here, it will give you a statistics of your workbook. In the current sheet, end of the sheet is cell O26, sales with data 71, table 0, formulas 25. Okay, and workbook we have 4 sheets, sales with data 107, we have no table, and we have 25 formulas inside this whole workbook. Okay, so this is a basic statistics of your workbook. Now check accessibility. We have accessibility, auto text, format as table, unmerged cell, and a lot of options. So if you hover here, check accessibility, it will say keep it inclusive. Let's make sure that your file follows accessibility best practices. Will help you fix issues quickly, easy to follow direction or recommendation. So if you want to follow the accessibility best practice, you are going to need this option. Okay, so check it as you wish. I don't use this as much, but you can use it. Okay, here you can also use format as table. You can format your data as table, and also unmerged cells if you have merged cell which is not good for accessibility, and you can unmerge it from here. And also alter text, if you add a picture here, you can add a alter text for that picture. Let's say I have a picture of flower and the alter text should be flower, so it will be accessible for everyone. Okay, now here smart lookup, if I hover the mouse here, you can see search for definition, image, web page, and other results from various online sources. Okay, so if I select the cell and click here smart lookup, it is going to look up online for that word. Okay, and it is going to get the result from the web. Okay, here is our word good, and we are getting these results from online. Okay, this is how you can use smart lookup. Translate, if you want to translate, select the cell you want to translate, click on translate, and from here you can select the language and you will get the result of your translated word. Okay, close this. Now we have commenting option here. If I click a new comment, and you can see I can add a comment. And now if you select the cell, you can edit comment, delete, previous, next. You can show or hide all the comments, and if you have hidden comments, you can click here to show all the comments. So I have a lot of tutorials on commenting, you can check out that here. Now let's delete this. Okay, here we have protect sheet, protect workbook, allow edit ranges, and unshare workbook. Okay, inside the protect tab. Now these are for your worksheet protection. If I hover my mouse here, you can see we have our tooltip saying protect sheet. Prevent unwanted changes from others by limiting their ability to edit. For example, you can prevent people from editing locked cells or making formatting changes. Okay, if I click on protect sheet, then write password twice. This worksheet is protected. I cannot change it. If I click here unprotect sheet and give that password and click OK, I can edit it. So you can use the protect workbook also, and you can allow edit ranges. So here in the tooltip it says set up password protection on ranges and choose people who can edit those ranges. Once set it up, click protect sheet to activate password protected range. So here it means you can give a certain people editing capabilities. Okay, everyone will find your worksheet locked, but only your selected people can edit that. Okay, here unshare workbook. If you share your workbook, you can unshare it from here. I didn't share this workbook, so it's not active right now. Here we have in the ink option hide ink. Okay, we don't have any ink in this workbook and I can't even access that. And let me tell you why. If you are working on a touch supported machine, that means your laptop has a touch display, or you are using Excel from your mobile, you will find a new menu here which will say draw, and then from there you can highlight or write anything inside your worksheet, and that will be counted as ink, and you can hide those ink by clicking this menu. Okay, and you can unhide it by clicking it again. So in the next tutorial, we are going to talk about view, developer and help, and thank you for watching. If you like this tutorial, please subscribe to the channel and let me know if you like this video series. I am trying my best to support all the beginners. So if you can, please share this video with other Excel users, and thank you for watching.